In the chat room, if anybody's coming up, I apologize because I don't want to cut them off. But you know what? Fuck them. What can I do? If nobody tells me nothing, I'm gonna keep going until they cut my ass off. So yeah, here we go. We're still going. Shit, 45 minutes strong. I gotta get a drink of water or something. Maybe have some coffee. Hold on a second. Nothing like cold coffee. So anyway. When I was getting off the stuff shit, as far as Arizona, we went to, for Peoria, I was in Scottsdale, Glendale, Gilbert, Chandler, Mesa. We hit them all. We were on the West Coast, East Coast. We had a Malibu rent-a-car. I got to tell you, folks. Now, I was going to buy a Malibu about, 9 years ago, and maybe 10 years ago. And I'm a Chevy fan. Father worked for General Motors for 38 years. That's right. Congratulations to him and his 38 years of service over at General Motors before they tore that sucker down in Tarrytown, New York. I even had a little working there with experience with my father there for a few lovely months. The pay was good, but the hours sucked. And so I thankfully quit and ended up in the post office. So never regret that one day. But any old way, going back, we rented a car, and I said, what do we got? She said, we got you a Chevy Malibu. I said, fuck Malibu, I love it. Nice looking car. I drove it. Drives like a dream. But let me tell you, the headroom for a little guy like me, 5'6", every time I get in the car, bash my friggin' head. I told my wife, don't get the Malibu. Don't get the Malibu. It changed. It changed. It didn't change, honey. It didn't change, honey. I'm telling you. It's the same headroom. It's no good. My neck, I bang my head. Of course, the wife says it's a Malibu, so we get a Malibu. Oh, I'll drive. I'll drive. Okay, you'll drive. Yeah, you're going to drive the whole trip? Bullshit. Anyway, get in the car. First thing I do, get in the passenger seat. What happens? Bang my head. She says, you hit your head? I said, I told you. They didn't change the dimensions. Nice car, bad way to get in and out. And I'm used to a Chevy Equinox, so I get right in, I get right out. No problem. I'm a little bit higher than the road, which is what I like. The guy offers us the Chevy. He goes, I went back. I said, what else do you got? Because after I bashed my head the first time, I was still in the parking lot. I said, maybe we can get something better. Walked in there. You signed the contract for the Malibu. Maybe we can work something out with you. I wish you would have told me that at the counter. I said, well, the car isn't at the counter, sir. So I couldn't get in the car to tell you if I like the car or not. You gave me the contract, then you sent me out to the parking lot to meet your smiling representative that told me to take this car right here, the Malibu, and they were giving me an upgrade. I says, I was very happy with the fucking Toyota, the Corolla you were going to give me. But you wanted to upgrade me to this Malibu, and then my wife, of course, was smiling and took it. So, I can give you the Equinox for $100 more, or, I said, what? $100 more? Fuck that. I said, I'm not paying you $100 more for that. I'll suffer the consequences with the Malibu. Because, I know the Equinox from my own experience. Gas mileage-wise, it ain't the greatest. And, I knew I was going to be tooling around town. I don't want to have to go to a gas station every friggin' day. So, anyway, we ended up with the damn Malibu. And, basically, A to B, good car, that kind of thing. And we definitely did a lot of driving, which was great because if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. People will tell you a lot of different things when you go to Arizona. And I have my cousins, they live everywhere. I haven't seen my cousins for over 40 years, maybe 45 years, one of my cousins. Now, they moved out there in the early 80s. Not my fault. Hey, they fucking moved out there. I didn't move out there. They moved away from us. So that's what I always say. Fuck them. People say, you never see your cousins. Well, what the fuck? They moved to Arizona. What am I supposed to do? I'm not, if you want me to, if you're going to have some kind of a reunion or some shit, give me a heads up. I'll get on a plane and see you fuckers, But, hey, it's been that long. So when I got out there, they used to see me with long hair, fucking tie-dye jeans and shit the last time they seen me. Well, with some of them, last time they seen me was probably my communion. That's how long I hadn't seen these suckers. So, anyway, it was nice to see them, like 6 to 8 of my cousins, my aunt. Jesus, I went to visit my aunt. I don't know their number. I just walked right up to the house and rang the bell. My cousin's 75 years old. She's got a disability. She has polio since she's a little kid. So she was fucked up back then. She couldn't walk that good. I couldn't imagine her now, seeing her at 75 years old. And she's my first cousin that sold me, in 1980, she sold me a Sport Fury. That was my first car I ever owned. And she sold it to me. And it was a handicap car. I didn't understand. They had a special handicap wheel and handicap brakes. And I get in this car to test drive it. I'm like, I'm not going to drive this car. It's made for a handicapped person. And then I just got in it. It was beautiful. I'm as clean as a pin. I said, listen, I don't even have to drive this car. I just told my father, just tell Cousin Marianne, what does she want for it? I'll pay her right now in cash. And that's what I did. They took all the handicap shit off the car. I drove that shit out of my grandmother's yard. I had that car for 10 years, man. That was my friggin', believe me, that was my lady mobile. Those were the good times, man. You didn't need a hotel. No hotel with that car. Plenty of room in the back seat, and nobody bitched and complained about going to no hotels. I'll just let you know that, and that's where we'll stop at that point. But the Sport Fury was happening. I'll tell you that right now. Beautiful stereo, the whole shebang, So just let you know, that was the car to have. But for me, it was leather seats, the whole shebang. You couldn't beat it. So, and then basically I went there. My cousin's, she's 75 years old now. Her mother, still alive, my aunt, knock on wood. And we were talking last night in Easy Kills round table about people getting sick and people passing away and people having dementia and not knowing you and shit. Well, I experienced the same thing, sort of. I walked into my aunt's house, who was only almost 99. God bless her. She's still there, hanging tough. She looked great. I walked in. She didn't know me from nothing. Not because she hadn't seen me in 40 years. She just didn't know I was her brother's son. And she just couldn't figure it out. She was so confused, She thought she knew my wife. I said, how do you know my wife? There's no way she knows my wife. She never met my wife. My wife, last time, she never see, but hey, how are you? It's been a long time. And I'm like, my wife's looking at me like, I never met you. And of course you never met my aunt. It's 40 years I haven't seen her. When did you meet her? You were 10 years old? Were you selling her Girl Scout cookies or some shit? She recognizes you? But, so that was a little sad. Not to really have any, because I wanted to talk to her, I wanted to tell her about her brother, and her and my father were close, I wanted to tell her some stories, and, but I couldn't, because she didn't remember me, and, so I just sat there, took a few pictures, and, me and my cousin chit-chatted, and that was pretty much that, and, again, God bless her, she's still hanging tough, she looked good, but, and that's just how, people get old. They don't have to be old. People get dementia, man. People forget. It could happen to me. It could happen to anybody. The age doesn't matter anymore. People get sick. Age doesn't matter. My wife, she got sick last year. My wife, she was only 50 years old. My wife got cancer. And who expects that? Thank God, knock on wood. She's in remission, and she's going through all kinds of things, physically and mentally. And these things that you don't expect it. We're talking about going to Arizona and moving away from here. And when you hear, your wife's got cancer, fuck Arizona. Fuck everything. Your world stops on a dime. You don't worry about, moving to Arizona. You don't worry about going to the store. All you worry about is, I hope everything's going to be all right with my wife. How did this happen? These are all thoughts going through my head. And what's going through her head? How scared is she that, she's got to go through this terrible situation? You just got to be there for your loved one. Is she going to lose her breast? Is she going to die? So all these plans, we're planning, we thought about, this was last, before we talked about leaving. But when you hear the news, last year that this devastating disease has entered our family once again, because I lost my mom in November, and I lost my dad through cancer in 2005, and that was devastating. for us. And, knowing, that, he was going to die. I mean, he didn't just die. Some people they just pass away and that's it, and sad as it is, but it's quick, and that's just it. Yeah, unholy. That's the thing. You go to the doctor and you get these brain scans, and they basically tell you you're gonna get this disease, and you know what? Yeah, because I'm younger than unholy, and he's in the chat room saying, most likely he's gonna get Alzheimer's. Now could be any day, and I know because I had a good experience with going for all these tests for myself, where I was experiencing some things with my head, and then they said, well, we see something in this brain scan, a kid around, it's like, well, I had a brain, I got brains, you dopey fuck, cha-cha, you had to go for, I said, everybody jokes around, but, when you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, I think I seen something in your brain scan, and you go, good, I got some brains, right? No, it's probably something we have to look into, and you're like, oh, fuck, just kill me now, I don't want to go through all this shit, I know there's a lot of shit I want to forget. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, some people might say it's a blessing in disguise. You get to forget a lot of shit. You just hope you remember all the good shit. But, you know what I mean, guys? But, listen, we're all going to die. We know that. That's one thing is certain. We can, walk around it and talk about it and laugh about it. But, that's why, again, this Arizona situation for us is not immediate, but it somewhat is, because when something like that happens to your wife, or something like that happens to a family member, or something happens to yourself, you kind of, the world isn't waiting for you, man. You know what I'm saying? They ain't waiting for you to come to Arizona. They're not waiting for you. They're not waiting for me to do my next podcast and bullshit. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to get on the mic, buddy. You got to get on that plane. You got to do your homework. Just like you do your fantasy homework, you got to do your research for where you want your life to be. Nobody's going to give it to you. Like some people get it, and they have it in a silver spoon in their hand. They always had money. They always have nice cars. They always had the girls. But they don't always have happiness. And you can't buy it. You think you can. No matter all the stuff, and I'll go back to stuff. The simplest stuff in your life, that you probably have in a basket somewhere could make you the happiest person in the world. Doesn't take much to make you happy. A little something that you might have in your basement right now, if you open up one of those green tubs, might bring back some memories to you that goes, I remember when, and that was a happy time. So that's why it's tough to get rid of stuff, and that's why when you move, it's a big part of your life to say, I'm just going to throw that away. And, my wife can't understand. Like, how the dare me? Like I could tell her, you throw that out. What do we need that for? And she looks at me like, you fucking asshole. You don't understand the sentimental value that Sony Walkman has for all, like, what the fuck are you going to keep that for? What are you keeping that double cassette VCR in the basement for? What the fuck is that all about? Throw it out. Throw it out. That's what we do, right? Isn't that how we live our lives? You buy a car, throw it out. Buy this, throw it out. We don't fix it. You ever buy a pair of shoes, and after you buy your shoes, what are you thinking? Oh, I can't wait. My shoes start wearing out. I'm going to take my shoes to the shoe guy to fix my shoes. Now, I know Unholy, he'll tell you stories, I bet, when he was a kid, that you only had one pair of friggin' shoes. And then you did take your shoes to the shoe store, and they fixed your shoes. Because that was the only damn pair of shoes you were going to have. But nowadays, it's all about, shit, I went on my vacation to Arizona, guess what? I had 2 pairs of sandals. This is the deal, folks. I had one for getting out of bed and walking to the shower. I had one that could walk me down to the breakfast. I had my sneakers that I was going to go out with. I had my sneakers that I was going to go hiking with. Tell that to your freaking mother and father back in the day, that you needed a pair of sneakers to go running with and another pair of sneakers